At the wedding, the male lead hugged Bai Yueguang, who had just returned to China, and said to me coldly, "He's back, you can go away." Hearing this, I took off my wedding dress in one breath, revealing the professional suit underneath, then picked up the microphone and said passionately, "I am today's gold male MC. Let us congratulate the newlyweds." The male lead, Bai Yueguang, and the guests who were watching the show were all stunned. The stand-in was just the most ordinary one among my 99 part-time jobs. The night wind was cold, and I rode my electric donkey on the road. After arriving at the destination bar, I picked up a large bag of takeout and handed it to the front desk. I love this bar. There are so many people ordering takeout every time. I went upstairs while thinking, took off the yellow takeout clothes, revealing the white suspended dress underneath, put on a pitiful look, and pushed open the door of a private room with familiarity. I looked at the man in the corner and said earnestly, "Junju, I'm here to give you the hangover medicine." The noisy voices in the private room stopped at once, and everyone looked at me with ill intentions. Eamon joked, "Genzuho, I didn't expect that your alcohol tolerance has become so poor after not seeing you for a few days. You haven't drunk much yet, but you need hangover medicine?" Everyone laughed. Shenlong Zutra's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He looked at me impatiently and said with disgust, "Bai Shiqiao, I have told you many times that you are justice and in. Ace and in should have the duty of a stand-in. Don't always appear in front of me." Hearing this, I covered my face, secretly took out a bottle of eye drops from my pocket, and quickly dripped a few drops into the corner of my eye at an angle that no one could see. When I looked up again, my eyes were red. "Junzo, the doctor said you should drink less." "Oh, this eye drop is not expired. Why is it so irritating?" Shen Wangzuo opened a briefcase beside him, took out a large stack of banknotes and threw it at me. He smiled and said, "Tell me, so many, don't you just want money?" I covered my mouth to prevent my arrogant and perverted smile from showing, and tried to cry, "No, I don't want money." Chen Zhenzu crossed his long legs, took out a black card from his pocket and threw it at my face, waving his hand as one black card enough. "BA is Haikiao, get out of here." I turned my head sensitively along the position where the black card fell. The black card seemed to fall to the ground, but in fact it was firmly inserted into my ponytail. "In this case, then I'll leave." Facing everyone's cold eyes, I left contentedly. As soon as I walked out of the box door, I went to the toilet. When I came out again, I had changed into the clothes of a cleaning girl. It was so funny. So many banknotes fell on the ground just now. No matter how small the mosquito meat is, it is still meat. How could I give up? I untied my ponytail, put on a hat and a mask, took a broom and a dustpan, and swaggered back into the box. The people in the box didn't pay much attention to me, so I swept it perfunctorily and walked straight to where the banknotes were scattered. Just as I was diligently sweeping all the banknotes into the dustpan, a voice that could freeze a person to death appeared. "You turn around." My eyelids jumped, pretending that I didn't know he was calling me, and hurried out. But Chen Zhuo grabbed my arm and said impatiently, "Didn't you hear me turn around? Take off your mask for me." Oh no, did this bastard recognize me? In this case, don't blame me. I took off the mask, revealing a pair of yellow bean squinting eyes and a thick beard, and said in an extremely low voice, "Oh my God, Mr. Shenhao, what are you going to do to me?" Han Kunze was shocked when he saw my rough appearance. Do you think I've been a beauty blogger for so many years for nothing? Look at me turning into a mighty and tough guy. I won't scare you to death. Shen Shu Shu to death. Shankar flexibly let go of my arm, but I refused to give in and pulled him back. I squirmed madly on him, and with my mouth that had just eaten durian and sticky tofu, I blew air on his cheek 5 times a second, and then said shyly in a sexy bubbling voice, "I know that Mr. Shen likes tough guys like me, Mr. Shen, don't worry, I have good skills, huh, Mr. Shen, I have had a crush on you for a long time, and today I finally have the chance to get what I want to." Shen Kunzu showed a panicked expression and covered his nose to try to avoid my breath. Seeing him raise his hand to hit me, I held my head with both hands, rolled nimbly, then crawled violently on the ground, screamed, convulsed, and hugged Shen Zhu's legs with wide eyes, and began to roar grimly. I want Mr. Shen to hit me. Hustle, comfortable master. Hit me more hissing, Mr. Shen's waist, the knife that kills I love you. Oh, everyone in the box was stunned. They opened their mouths and watched this scene. Shen Huanju's expression was distorted, and he wanted to get rid of me in a desperate situation. Where is the security? There is a psychopath here. A lunatic. Don't say the security equipment of this hotel is quite complete. Seeing that the security was about to rush in to catch me, I stopped while I was ahead and immediately stuffed all the money into my coat, then used the broom as a boost, slid my long legs and knelt, and steadily reached the door of the box. Then I took advantage of my high jumper, supported the railing on the second floor, jumped to the stairs not far away, and ran to the women's bathroom again. I tore off the beard on my face, washed my face, and transformed myself into a security guard in the bar. Brother Li, what's wrong? I walked out of the toilet, stopped a security guard, and asked in a puzzled manner. Xiao Qiao, a pervert attacked Mr. Shen just now. Mr. Shen was very angry and said that he must catch the man. He seemed to run to the toilet. I curled my lips and pretended to be surprised. Mr. Shen is so miserable. Then let's go and chase him. Come and chase me. It would be strange if you can catch him. A year ago, I traveled into this book and became the little white flower heroine with the same name and surname as me. The original book is a dog-blooded domineering president article. The heroine was abused by the hero for 999 chapters. In the last chapter, the hero finally realized his feelings for the heroine, so he chased his wife to the crematorium, and the heroines often agreed. But I am different. My heart is made of money. I never do things that lose money. The substitute is just the most ordinary one among my 99 part-time jobs. In the evening, when I was chewing a sweet potato and soaking my feet, the door of the room was pushed open heavily. Chen Zhen lied gloomily like the king of hell who wanted to take my life. What was he doing here in the middle of the night? I shook my head and thought to myself that I should change the fingerprint lock. Next, Shen Zhu glanced at my feet, his Adam's apple rolled, and said unhappily, Bai Yueguang, why are you so leisurely and have time to soak your feet? It's probably because I have athlete's foot. I thought about it and found the most convincing reason. Xianghe Shengzhu was stunned by me. He was silent for a second and suddenly roared, Do you know what I went through today? I asked you to be a substitute and give you money every month, but you don't care about me at all. Oh my God, the stupid man went crazy. I took the last bite of the sweet potato, wiped my feet, and was about to stand up, but Zhu suddenly pounced on me, held my head, and tried to kiss me. I was shocked and subconsciously raised my hands, opened my bows left and right, and gave him heavy blows. Shen Zihu's eyes were red after being beaten. He raised his hand and looked like he wanted to fight me back. Seeing that the situation was not good, I immediately put on my slippers and ran away from him at the speed of a 100-meter sprint. You dare to run? Shenhua yelled at me. He picked up several cosmetics on the table and threw them at me. Hey, luckily I learned this trick. As a professional acrobat, I skillfully caught two in one hand and held one on my head. Shen Zhu's eyes widened, and he picked up the cactus on the ground and threw it at me. This is not a good way to catch it, so I flashed in front of him. Mr. Suddenly I felt something. I bent down, covered my stomach, and looked at him with a painful expression. To be honest, this is my last kindness. Otherwise, someone is destined to sacrifice tonight. But Shen Zhu obviously didn't listen to the advice. He stared, carried me on his shoulders, and said in a gloomy tone, Bai Yueguang, if you have anything to say, go to bed and talk slowly. I bit my lip and finally couldn't hold it anymore. With my butt as the center of the circle, dozens of cereal farts popped out one after another, layered on Shen Zhu's face. After releasing it, I sighed and finally said the words I had been holding back for a long time. I want to fart. So stinky. Shen Zhu didn't take any precautions. His nostrils twitched twice and then his expression froze. Obviously, his soul suffered a critical blow. You don't have martial ethics. This was Shen Junzu's last sentence before he fell into a coma. In order to prevent Shen Shen waking up and retaliating against me, I fed him a few sleeping pills to try to make him sleep longer. Then I set off early the next morning. Today was the day when the male lead, Bai Yueguang Jian Yin, returned to China. In the original text, John Yin starred in a low-budget movie and then went abroad to study. After returning to China, she had both acting skills and a wealthy family background. Naturally, she became a hit in the entertainment industry and became a hot new star. As a person with a keen sense of money, I immediately paid attention to Jian Yin and became her fan. There were very few fans who came to pick her up at the airport. My original plan was that as soon as Jian Yin came out, I would seize the opportunity and take several photos of her. However, when I really saw Jian Yin, I forgot the original plan and just stood there staring at her. Oh my God, this beautiful side face, this clear jawline, this perfect head to body ratio, you deserve to be Bai Yueguang. However, when I came to my senses, Jian Yin was surrounded by a group of bodyguards and was about to leave my sight. In a hurry, I trotted towards her. In order to attract Jian Yin's attention, I ran and shouted, "When I was a child, my clothes were always torn." My mother signed me up for a class. The teacher of the tailoring class asked us whose clothes were always torn. I was the first to stand up and said, "My old clothes are torn, my old clothes are torn." Jiao Yin really stopped and turned around sharply. I finally ran to her, and just when I was about to ask for an autograph, Jiao Yin looked at me with a look of being struck by lightning. In her wolf-like eyes, my hand holding the ballpoint pen couldn't help but tremble slightly. And I said weakly, "Although I am your fan, I don't support improper relationships between fans and idols." Oh, Jian Yan looked at me with interest. After hearing her voice, I was also like being struck by lightning, staring at her blankly. Isn't this familiar voice the rich woman who spent a lot of money to let me accompany her voice a few days ago? So I cleared my throat and carefully made a secret code. Today, I found a yellow hair, and I went to check it out. It's because of vitamin A deficiency. Jian Yin chuckled and said in a clear voice, "Fortunately, it's not you who is missing, my only one. So you are Bing Liu, Li's Yi Lan Ying." I cried with joy. Just as I was about to say Jian Yin's online name, she quickly covered my mouth. "Shh, don't say my online name in public." Jiang Yin whispered in my ear. Because we were so close, the hot air she exhaled made my ears read unconsciously. From a distance, it seemed that she was holding me in her arms. At this time, a sad voice rang out, "What are you doing?" I turned my head and saw Shinjinzu's incredible expression. His brows turned green. He looked at me angrily and said, "Bai Shiqiao, so your way of revenge on me is to seduce Jian Yin?" I was shocked and my mind raced. Within a few seconds, I pushed Jian Yin away, pointed at her face, and accused Shen Dunzu in tears. "This is the girl in the photo in your wallet, right? What about me? Who am I?" She was stunned for a moment, then changed to an understanding expression, and a low voice sounded, "Bai Shiqiao, remember your identity. You are just a substitute." Then he looked at Jian Yin affectionately. "Ying Ying, long time no see. Long time no see." Jian Yin glanced at me, then shook hands with Shenju. The sadistic plot of the novel began to play a role. Shen Hu pulled me aside for some reason and said condescendingly, "Bai Shiqiao, accompany me and Jian Yin to go shopping. If she buys something, I will give you 10,000 yuan." I pushed my lips and was about to refuse, but Shen Zhenzu's disdainful voice sounded again. "Why, a gold digger thinks 10,000 yuan is not enough? What about 100,000 yuan? Are you satisfied?" The words of refusal were immediately swallowed in my throat, and I looked at Shen Zhenzu sympathetically. As soon as I arrived at a shopping mall, I took Jian Yin to a high-end perfume store very professionally, and then introduced it to her very professionally. Looking at Shen Zhenzu's stunned face, I smiled heavily. I didn't expect it. I used to be a saleswoman. Not only a saleswoman, but also a sales champion. Jian Yin seemed to really like perfume. She bought one when I introduced one. Unknowingly, a row of perfumes was almost emptied by us. Shenhuazu was carrying large and small bags behind him. His face was black. He pulled me aside and was about to question me, but I took the initiative and said pitifully, "See, Jian Yin looks so happy. Jin Zhu, are you happy?" Fearing that the killing force was not enough, I sighed and added, "As long as you can be happy, even if I let me take care of her, it's okay." Shen Huanju's original anger disappeared immediately. He looked at me deeply, pressed a few numbers on the phone, and then sneered, "Okay, you are such a cheap woman." The phone ding-dong sounded, and 2 million arrived. I gazed at his back affectionately. 2 million? My family? This is 2 million. What's cheap or not? Shenju can say I'm cheap all the time. Shikiao, are you free this afternoon? There is a temporary blind date that needs you to attend on my behalf. The lazy voice of a woman came from the phone. I yawned and said vaguely, I declined. 100,000? My yawn stopped immediately, and I said seriously, Bashan, the wind was now. I didn't hear you clearly. Oh, it's just a blind date. It won't waste a few minutes. I will definitely help you. The other party was obviously amused by me. And she casually asked, how is Shang Junzu's company these days? The woman's name is Shen Tingyu. She is the half-sister of the male protagonist Sheng Lin. She is also the vicious female supporting role who wants to seize the male protagonist's company in the original novel. In addition to being Shen Huangzu's stand-in, I actually have another identity, a spy planted next to Shen Junzu's. There is no way Shen Tingyu gave too much. Compared with the stingy and troublesome Shen Bunju, this domineering sister is simply generous. So I reported everything to her. Shen Zhu Zansu has been busy chasing his white moonlight recently and has no time to take care of the company. Short-sighted brother. Shen Tingyu chuckled, transferred a big red envelope to me, and then continued to encourage me. Come on, Shikiao, work hard and promotion and salary increase are just around the corner. Although it was a big deal, I immediately got up from the bed and put on makeup. No problem, sir. According to Shen Tiyu, the blind date partner is a rich kid who is about the same age as her. The two met a long time ago. She asked me to be perfunctory and it would be best if I could ruin this blind date. Although I said so, I still put on big sunglasses, a hat and a mask, for fear that the other party would recognize that I was not myself. You are that. The blind date partner was originally looking at the scenery outside the floor-to-ceiling window. Hearing this, he turned his head and revealed an extremely beautiful and lovely face. Miss Shen, my name's Pei Yan, are you I? Oh, sorry. I pulled the corners of my lips awkwardly, and then suddenly felt something was wrong. Sister Ting, you clearly said that the other party was a playboy, but why he looks so pure? Before I could think about it, Pei Yan, are you? I muttered. Why is it different from what I remembered? Hearing this, I immediately recalled Shen Tingyu's movements and expressions, sat down, covered my mouth and laughed. Have you ordered? Pei Yan, are you? I nodded. And the waiter next to him was also very professional. The dishes were served immediately. I took off my mask and started to eat. The man in front of me suddenly hesitated and said, Miss, Shen, how are you going to take off your sunglasses and hat? I smiled delicately on the surface and told him, it's just a little personal hobby. I believe Mr. Pei won't mind, right? But I was secretly complaining. If I take off my sunglasses and hat, wouldn't I be running naked? Pei Yan, or you? I nodded with understanding. After a meal, the two of us didn't say a few words. I was afraid of being exposed because of my personality. He didn't know why. Ad we chat? Pei Yan, are you? I said casually at the end of the meal. I took out my personal QR code without thinking, and then suddenly felt something was wrong. Mom, I forgot to switch the number. This is my corporate WeChat. Pei and are you? I stopped scanning the QR code. He froze for a while, looked at me affirmatively and said, Teacher Bai, I'm Pei Jinan. Pei Jinan? Isn't this the student I taught online some time ago? No wonder, I said. The voice sounded a little familiar. I have done too many part-time jobs, and the people I randomly invite to go on blind dates are all acquaintances. I took off my sunglasses and hat and looked at him in shock. What is your relationship with Pei Yan, are you I? Pei Jian unblinked his eyes, obviously a little aggrieved. Oh my God, a fake meets a fake. I touched my nose and hooked my finger at him. Good boy, then we are even. Don't tell your brother, and I won't tell Sister Tingyu. Okay, teacher, bye. Pejina agreed obediently. I stood at the door of the villa in formal clothes, feeling sleepy and wanting to yawn. Half a month ago, I applied for the position of housekeeper of this villa. Since no one came to live in this villa, it was very idle. Unexpectedly, just now, I received a notice that the son of the owner of the villa would come to this villa to stay for one night. Not long after, a limited edition sports car slowly drove to the door of the villa. The door was opened, revealing a devilish face like a knife. What a coincidence. This person is very familiar to me. It is Shanhan Jewel. I took a breath, thankful that I put on a mask in time, and then pretended to be respectful and said, Master Shan Kongbich, ready for you. Before I finished speaking, a pair of hands as white as lotus roots stretched out and hugged Shen Jinzu's neck. Then they began a very intense French kiss. My eyes! I immediately shut up and turned my head to look at the scenery next to me. A minute passed, 10 minutes passed, and even half an hour passed, and the two were still kissing as if no one was around. My legs were numb from standing. No, do you have a suction cup in your mouth? The driver and I looked at each other and smiled awkwardly. Just when I had counted 100,000 ants, Shanju finally couldn't bear to let go of the woman. Just when I breathed a sigh of relief and wanted to show them the way, the two couldn't help but hug each other again, stumbling and kissing as they walked towards the villa. I could only follow them with the vicissitudes of life on my face. The light outside was too dark, and I couldn't see the woman's appearance clearly. When I walked into the house, I immediately recognized who she was, Jian Yin. You've made a big sacrifice. I stood in the corner looking at the floored aisles obediently. I glimpsed Chen Shenzhou pressing Jian Yin on the sofa. His hand was about to slide down. Ah, is this a scene I can watch without paying? Just when I was lamenting the decline of morals, Jian Yin, she knocked Shenggushi unconscious with her hand knife. Miss Bai, come here. Jian Yin's teasing voice sounded. She wiped her mouth with a handkerchief she carried with her in disgust, then took out a box of sleeping pills from her bag, pinched Shenzhu's mouth open without any gentleness, and fed it to him. Seeing this scene, I was stunned and said in a lost voice, Am I also a part of your play? Jian Yin laughed twice. She spread her hands and fairly unsaid, He wants my money, I want his sex. It's just a mutually beneficial relationship. Then Jian Yin hooked her finger at me again. Little cutie, sister has a business here. I want to talk to you. Bai Shikia, remember your identity. Don't dream of things that don't belong to you. Shen perceptively took my arm and said coldly, What did a worker do to you? I rolled my eyes and happened to meet Shen Jinzhu's eyes, who was looking down. He was stunned for a moment and asked, What's the expression on your face? Zhu, I'm so sad that my eyes are twitching. I deliberately clamped my throat and spoke in a coquettish voice. Sure enough, Shoshan Zhu was very fond of this. He seemed very satisfied with his charm and stopped asking. A few days ago, Zhangguan Zhu and Jian Yin had a quarrel. In order to anger her, he asked me to appear as his female companion at today's banquet. After all, in the novel, the original owner and Jian Yin are Shen Jinzu's Red Rose and White Moonlight, respectively. He likes Jian Yin's face, but doesn't like hurt emperors, so he often uses the gentle and infatuated original owner as a meal replacement. Zhu, sure enough, as soon as Jian Yin's voice sounded, Zhang Shenshu sounded, Shangju immediately pushed me away. He said in a light voice, Go shopping by yourself. Don't do anything to embarrass me. Man, it's more embarrassing for you to play both sides. I sneered, turned and walked towards the buffeteria, took a pile of food, and found an arc corner to sit down. Do you think I am shy by nature? No, because I am a dedicated food broadcaster. I picked up a peeled shrimp with a smile, dipped it in the sauce and introduced it to the camera. When I was eating happily, a faint voice suddenly came from my side. Teacher Bai. I was so scared that I choked and couldn't stop coughing. Heijinin was also startled and quickly poured a glass of water and sent it to me. I drank some water and felt better, so I coughed and yelled, Once a teacher, always a father. Is this how you treat your father? Peijinin was honest. He said with a guilty look, I'm sorry, teacher, I was wrong. I was about to say something, but the lights in the venue suddenly went out. Someone covered my mouth from behind. A second before I fainted, there was only one thought in my mind: damn, I haven't eaten that big and tender shrimp yet. I'm losing money. When I opened my eyes again, I was groggy and wanted to get a glass of water, but I found that my hands and feet wouldn't up and I couldn't move. I woke up all of a sudden and opened my eyes suddenly. I didn't know until I opened them. I was shocked. I was actually in an abandoned factory, and there were several men who looked fierce in front of me. Boss, all three people are awake. The younger brother was reporting to the scarred man ruthfully. Three people. Sure enough, when I turned around, I saw Jian Yin and Pei Jinan, who were also tied up tightly beside me. How interesting. The scarred man smiled sarcastically, clapped his hands, and said, Shen Zhu, you could never have imagined that. One day, both of your little lovers will fall into my hands. Hearing this, I glanced around with a puzzled look on my face, and then asked very politely, wait, where's the Shen Zhu you mentioned? The scarred man seemed to have not expected that I would suddenly speak. He was stunned for a moment, and then laughed even more happily. Shenju, Shengdu, Shendun Boiju. He caused my family to be broken up. He owes me so many lives. Now it's time for you to pay back your debt. Oh, it turns out to be Shenzhen's enemy. The scarred man seemed to be talking about Sheng Wenbi's three sentences. People who didn't know him would think he was his fanboy. Big brother, are you sure it was Shen Shenzhu who destroyed your family, not someone else? The scarred man suddenly became anxious, and he yelled at me. I will never forget his shameless behavior in my life. Then why didn't you kidnap Shen Zhenzu directly, but kidnap the three of us? I thought you were not very smart. But it seems normal now. The scarred man was so angry that his face was distorted. He strode towards me, ungrabbed my hair fiercely, trying to teach me a lesson. However, in the 51 seconds of the verbal battle with the scarred man, I had already eyed my hands and feet with my superb skills. So, I supported myself with my hands, jumped up, and landed steadily on the ground. In the hands of the scarred man, there was only a slick wig. In fact, I am still a cosplayer. In order to better cosplay various characters, I simply shaved my hair into a buzz cut some time ago. In order not to be so conspicuous, I still perform the duties of a stand-in, wearing Shen Zhenzuhu's favorite long black straight wig every day. And now, I took off my coat that was in the way, revealing the solid muscles and big flowered arms under my skirt. I stared at the muscular man excitedly and said, Can you imagine? I used to be a kidnapper. Seeing my muscles, Jian Yin's eyes lit up instantly. She pouted and said, Coconut lie? Miss Bai, my wrists are hurt by these stinky men. Help me beat them up and I'll give you my autograph. And Pei Jinan was very legal conscious. He looked at me, hesitant to speak. Teacher Bai, take it easy. Don't beat people to death. Just keep them alive. Hearing this, the scarred man looked at me with horror, holding his wig. He muttered to himself, Who are these people? I skillfully tied the last rope into a knot. I looked at the kidnappers tied up on the ground and said kindly, Tell me, what was your original plan? The roles of the kidnappers and hostages were reversed in an instant. The scarred man's face was bruised and purple. He said honestly, we originally wanted to video call Shen Zhenzu, blackmail him, and then kill you too, to make him regret it for the rest of his life. Thinking back to the original plot, I vaguely remembered that there seemed to be this part. The kidnappers asked Xiang Huanzu to choose one of the two, and he chose Jian Yin without hesitation. What about him? Why kidnap him? I pointed at Pei Jinan, very curious. When we wanted to kidnap you, he found out, so he bought two and got one free, and brought us back together. Pei Jinan touched his nose, a little shy. Sister Bai, I don't know how to fight. Good boy, I touched his head and smiled. If you don't know how to fight, then start learning from today. The row of men in front of you are your free punching bags. Sister Bai is so nice to me. Pei Jinan looked at me with admiration. Jian Yin also raised his hand, not to be outdone, saying, I want one too. I want one too. No problem, I answered generously. After all, I didn't forget that the original intention of these men was to kill us. I put on the black hood I snatched from the kidnappers, leaving only my eyes exposed. Next, I'll have to trouble Miss Jian to cooperate. I asked the scarred man to open a video call with Shen Zhui, and the other party answered it in seconds. I pointed the camera at Jianyin, who was unconscious on the ground, and said in a rough voice, Shen Kong's offers are in my hands. If you want to save them, go to the bank card. Before I finished speaking, Shen Zhu interrupted me. His eyes were devoured. I choose Jianyin. Don't hurt him. Leave Bai Shiqiao. You can do whatever you want with him. I understand everything. I am option one. I am plan B. It's split here. I forgot the rest. In fact, I feel that Shen Jun seems sometimes quite powerful, and every sentence can match the stupid plot in the original text. I showed a sinister smile and said, these two people have been tied up. Shen Zhu, if you want to reduce your sentence, you have to pay an extra ransom for Bai Shiqiao. Why? Shen Zhu asked. Do you have to give me an answer? I answered him loudly, because today is Crazy Thursday. Buy one, get one free. How much do you want? Shen Fu said in a deep voice. 10 of your company shares. Impossible! He refused in seconds. At this time, Johnny Jin's weak voice came from the ground. Junzhou. Shen Junzhu immediately changed his words. As long as he can be sent back safely, this little share is nothing. I rolled my eyes. Zheng Hongzu was so affectionate to Jianyin not only because she was Bai Yueguang, but also because Jianyin, like him, had a big family and a big business, which was very helpful to the development of his company. Men, they are very realistic. When Shengu transferred 10 million to my anonymous bank card, I quickly hung up the video and quickly untied the kidnappers. The kidnappers were ecstatic, and before they could counterattack, I winked at Jian Yin and Pei Jinan, and the three of them fell to the ground in unison. The next second, the siren sounded, and the police broke in and caught the kidnappers in one fell swoop. The scarred man panicked and pointed at me and said, Comrade Police, you have arrested the wrong person. That person is the real kidnapper. The police handcuffed him and snorted. I have heard this nonsense countless times. Let's go to the police station and talk slowly. In the video just now, Shenzhen Zhu probably had someone locate my location, so I took the initiative and called 110 in advance. After all, I have another identity, Ms. By an enthusiastic citizen. It is my duty to eliminate evil and promote good. I was sent to the hospital bed and woke up. This familiar hospital is where I applied for a surgical assistant a few days ago. The hospital also asked me to come to work tomorrow. Unexpectedly, as soon as I opened the door of the ward, a passing doctor hurriedly handed me a medical uniform. I remember that you are the one who passed the interview that day, right? There is a small operation and I need your assistance. I put on the medical uniform in a daze and followed him into the operating room. Doctor, I order you to cure this woman for me. Help, why is it Shen Zhou again? If I'm not mistaken, the woman on the operating table is Jian Yin, right? I'd rather be wrong. The attending doctor wiped the sweat off his head and said respectfully, Master Shen, Miss Jian's test results are fine. Impossible. Shen Zhenzhu held his head with both hands and rolled in the room like a trapped beast. It's hard to judge because Jian Yin told me that he played Mahjong all night in the chess and card room yesterday. I suspect he should be asleep now. The attending doctor gathered us together to discuss on the surface, but in fact he was secretly complaining. He's the president of the company. How can he be with a god? At the end of the speech, the attending doctor accidentally said God a little louder. Shen Shunsu didn't know what happened, but he caught this word. He became emotional all of a sudden and trembled all over. Kidney. There must be something wrong with Ying Wing's kidney. Shanju immediately pulled the tie of the assistant next to him and shouted hoarsely, Call Bai Shiqiao over to me. I want him to give Ying Ying a kidney. Hearing this, my body was shocked and my mind was full of question marks. In order to save his life, the assistant immediately dialed my number and then, accompanied by a beautiful ringtone, the phone in my trouser pocket rang. Good luck, we have good luck. The whole operating room was quiet. I smiled awkwardly and waved to Shen Zhu. Zhao, long time no see you. Shen Zheng hung down at once and he asked me, Bai Shiqiao, why are you here? Then he asked himself, You are a vicious woman. You sneaked into the hospital to harm Ying Ying, right? I didn't expect that you would use such a despicable means to get me. I didn't expect Sheng to even find a reason for me. I cried to death. Shen Zhenzu to even find a reason for me. I cried to death. Shen Zhenzu put on a cold look again, and he said to me in imperative tone, Bai Yueguang, to have your kidney donated then Jian. I closed my eyes and snatched the sedative from the attending doctor. He originally kept this sedative for fear that Jian Yin would get into trouble, and now I rushed toward Shen Zhu with a ferocious face and injected it into his body. Finally, Shen Zhu fell down, and the world was finally quiet. I pulled out the sedative, smiled at everyone, and said, "Sorry, I am a crazy woman." Everyone gave me a thumbs up. I cried with joy. Sure enough, there are still most normal people in this world. Shen Hui hasn't contacted me for a month since the sedative battle. When I thought I was going to be fired unilaterally, he sent me another text message. Bai Yueguang, come to the XX hotel to marry me at 12 noon tomorrow. Then he added, I love you. This is exciting. Although I don't know what Sheng Luiju's idea is, it is definitely not an idea that is good for me, because he didn't send any assistant to contact me and didn't even send me a wedding dress. It doesn't matter. For the little salary of being a stand-in, I put on a white suit and a white floor-length puffy skirt and set off. The hotel lobby was already full of people. When I opened the door, many people looked back at me in surprise and whispered, I heard that Mr. Xianhao is a lover outside. Could it be this one? Today is the wedding day of Master Shen and Miss Jian Yin. He will only make a fool of himself if he comes here. I walked forward step by step and saw Shen Zhenzu in a high-end suit and Jian Yin, who was shy in his arms. Seeing me, Shen Zhenzu sneered and deliberately took the microphone and said coldly, Bai Yueguang, don't bother me anymore. The woman I love most is back. You can go away. At this point, what else do I not understand? Shen Zhenzu deliberately called me over to humiliate me in public and create the image of me as a crazy woman so that he could vent his anger. He thought I was still the original Bai Yueguang, the simple girl in the novel who could be coaxed and physically and mentally abused by his casual words, I love you. It was so funny. The stand-in was just the most ordinary one among my 99 part-time jobs. Hearing this, I took off my white floor-length puffy skirt in one breath, revealing the suit pants underneath, then snatched the microphone from his hand, stood in the center, and said passionately, I am the gold medal MC today. Let us congratulate the newlyweds. Everyone was stunned. I continued to host calmly and said, now please invite the bride and groom to exchange rings with each other. Shen Zhenzu was still in a daze. Jian Yin pushed him and said angrily, why are you in a daze? Put the ring on me quickly. Jian Yin's relatives in the audience were all staring at this scene. Although Shen Zhenzu looked ugly, he still knew that this was a wedding scene, so he took out the ring and wanted to put it on Jian Yin. Unexpectedly, as soon as the ring was put on Jian Yin's finger, she pulled the ring out fiercely, slapped Shen Zhenzu in the face, and said sternly, Shen Zhenzu, are you worthy? Are you worthy of wearing my ring? The scene quickly reversed. The audience's mouths opened into a no shape, and the invited reporters jumped up and down excitedly, taking pictures one after another. Shang Hanso, who covered his face and stared at giantly, a little confused. Ying Ying. Jian Yin snapped his fingers, and the big screen immediately showed a photo of Shen Zhenzu and Dai pulling each other. The shooting angle was very good, and his and my movement seemed extremely ambiguous. Jian Yin sneered, then took my hand and said in a sonorous voice, Shen Zhenzu is a fickle man. On the surface, he said that he only loves me in this life, but in fact, he couldn't stand the loneliness a long time ago and secretly cheated on Miss Bai. The most important thing is that he lied to Miss Bai that he was single, and told me that it was Miss Bai who seduced him, creating a scene in which Miss Bai was shameless and entangled with him. Jian Yin asked someone to play another recording, and Shen Zhenzu's voice could be faintly heard in the audio. Don't worry, I don't like Jian Yin. After my business marriage with him, B shares will be yours. I picked up the microphone and tested. Fortunately, Miss Jian discovered something was wrong in time and contacted me. Jian Yin and I looked at each other and said in unison, today, on this important day, we will tear the scumbag apart. Shen Zhenzu looked at us in disbelief, but he was not stupid. He soon said angrily, "Okay, you two women actually joined forces to slander me." He pointed at Jiang Yin's belly, pulled the corner of his mouth and said, "Jiang Yin, you already have my child in your belly. If you hadn't been pregnant before marriage, I wouldn't want to marry you so soon." The reporters were in an uproar. There were too many melons today. Jiang Yin asked sharply, "Shen Zhenzu, are you sure the child is yours? You don't even have 8 abdominal muscles. Why do you think I would spend a night with you? This child was artificially inseminated by me and has nothing to do with you." "This is my child." Jian pulled out a certificate from somewhere and threw it hard in Xing Xinju's face. I was stunned, watching from the side. The three of us had 800 thoughts in total. Jian Yin had 401, Shenju had 401, and I had two. It turned out that Jian Yin returned to China this time, not only to fulfill her dream of entering the entertainment industry, but also to regain the family business. Jian's father and mother were old and wanted to hand over all the family business to Jian Yin. However, Jian's family questioned her ability, so they deliberately let Shen Wenzu know that she was going to return to China, hoping that she would get married early. However, Jian's father and mother were determined, so Jian Yin's cousin could only find Shen could only unreached an agreement with him, agreeing that he would give Shen Zhenzu a certain share of the Jian family company after he took over. Shen Zhengu liked Jian Yin, but he didn't like her overly arrogant personality and wanted to suppress her. In addition, he admired this cousin very much, so he naturally agreed to the agreement. As a spy in Shendu's company, I naturally carried a recorder with me, recorded this part, and sent it to the real boss Shou Hingyu, Shen Chongbar's competitors. So she thought about it and immediately sent it to Jian Yin. So Jian Yin took advantage of the situation and planned today's drama. Why choose today? According to her, it can also take advantage of the popularity of the wedding and make her more talked about in the entertainment industry. Sure enough, not long after the wedding, all kinds of gossip about this wedding appeared on the internet. Among them, the video of me taking off my wedding dress and becoming the MC, Jian Yin throwing the ring, and the two of us holding hands to tear the scumbag apart made netizens shout. 666. Shocked, there is no boring part in the whole process. The sisters are so great. The clips of the roles that Jian Yin had played before were directly searched, and she gained a lot of fans. Netizens turned my account upside down, including beauty bloggers, food broadcasters, connoisseurs, and all the accounts on various platforms were aghast. Netizens were shocked. "So these are you? Sister, is there anything you can't do?" In response, I humbly waved my hands and responded, "Hey, I'm just an ordinary slash youth." When Shen Zhenzu's timing affair came out, the stock of Shen's company plummeted. "Shenting, you took the opportunity to win over some shareholders in the company and poached people to her company." Mr. Shen finally began to pay attention to me. "Shenting, you picked up the wine glass, took a sip, and said sullenly, 'Obviously, I have shown better abilities since I was a child.' But the old man just loves Shen Zhenzu, the arrogant mania. Not only Mr. Shenhan, everyone seems to trust Shen Galguo, and their expectation for her is to find a marriage with a suitable family as soon as possible. According to Shen Tingyu, Shen Kanzu is actually Mr. Shen Shen's legitimate son. His birth should not be recognized by the Shen family, but for some reason, everyone likes him very much." I lowered my eyes and thought, because he is the unreasonable and bloody male protagonist. Because this is a melodramatic story, the original owner had to give in for love, even if she was tortured physically unmentally for 999 chapters. And she forgave the hero in the last chapter and became his top bootlicker, because as this is a melodramatic story, Shen Tingyu is obviously the eldest story. Shen Tingyu is obviously the eldest daughter of the story. Shen Tingyu is obviously the eldest daughter of the family and obviously has outstanding abilities. But because she wanted to take back her own company, she was lame, because the miserable end, because there's an end. Fortunately, in reality, they're all very sober and have fought their way out of this absurd world.